As connoisseurs of the odd video game or two, we're familiar with the concept of good guys and baddies, with the majority of titles placing you in the shoes of a hero who's out to save the day from whatever mischief their assigned antagonist is up to. Very often, as players, we allow our protagonists to just plough straight through objectives, doing whatever they need to do in order to achieve their goal, but we seldom stop to consider whether the ends justify the means. It's all well and good overcoming adversity, earning the reverence of millions and getting the girl or boy, but sometimes you have to look back at the trail of devastation in your wake and wonder if it was all worth it. For this list, we're going to be shining the spotlight on some of the worst of these careless champions and wondering if maybe their respective universes wouldn't be better off without them. We're using the term destruction quite loosely here, so we'll be covering everything from a blatant disregard for fine architecture to a body count bigger than my platinum trophy collection. It's quite large and very impressive. We'll also be chatting major plot points, so from here on out, a spoiler warning is in full effect. You have been warned. I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 video game heroes who caused more destruction than their villains. Number 10. Steve, Minecraft. We thought we'd start out small and ease you into the chaos, but it's impossible to deny that no matter how little destruction our blocky friend gets up to, it's still a great deal more than the various nasties dotted around each biome. The aim of Minecraft is really just to let your imagination run wild, but as the old saying goes, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few pixelated eggs. Unless it's your plan to merely wander the landscape for several hours, you're going to need some tools, so off you go, buddy, go and punch down some trees. If you want your own lodgings, then you guessed it, more trees! What's that? You found some iron ore in that mine over there? Congratulations, now go smelt it in a furnace by burning lots and lots and lots of coal, inevitably releasing a ton of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Don't worry about that ozone layer, I'm not sure we have one anymore. The baddies of Minecraft, on the other hand, really only seem interested in killing you, which isn't particularly friendly of them, admittedly, but then you have just come along, felled all their trees and probably caused a climate crisis by burning a load of fossil fuels, so I can't say that I blame them. Number 9. The Player, Borderlands series. If one were to take a step back and objectively consider who the good guys are in the Borderlands series, well, it's kind of hard to find any. As in real life, all of the mega corporations fit nicely at various points on the evil scale. Our main antagonists, Commandant Steele, Handsome Jack, and the the Calypso twins, certainly aren't helping any old ladies cross the road. So then, all you're left with are miscellaneous bandits, psychos, and all-around nutcases. Then, of course, there are the Vault Hunters, a gang of treasure seekers presented as our ostensible heroes. The issue here is that they're really no more virtuous than anyone else on Pandora. We just happen to be on their side. I suppose it's for this reason that they have absolutely no qualms about gunning down anyone who stands between them and their vault, leaving in their wake scores of dead bullymongs, skags, and squishy human NPCs. The jury's still out on whether all of this death is justified in order to prevent the rise of Borderlands' Mardi Gras parade of megalomaniacal maniacs, but we're coming down on the side of probably not. You could have just sent a strongly worded letter or signed a petition. I bet you didn't even think to try. Number 8. Link, the Legend of Zelda series. Unlike our previous entry, the Legend of Zelda series has made a very clear distinction between good and evil. There's no denying that a victory for Ganon is a massive loss for Hyrule, on the basis that he seeks to remake the world in his dark image and keeps kidnapping Princess Zelda. Ugh, what a creep. Luckily, Hyrule has itself a savior, the elf-like young man known as Link, who has defeated Ganon and saved the kingdom more times than we've had hot dinners. There's just one thing that, sadly, we can't overlook. Why does he feel compelled to smash all the pottery? I mean, it's fair enough that he wants to get at the rupees contained within, but they've got openings at the top. Why can't you just stick your damned hand in there and pull out your sodding gems without damaging Grandma's favourite vase? We do admit that a bit of shattered ceramic is probably a fair trade for not having the entire world enslaved by some big evil pigman. That said, though, it is a pretty big pile of ruined earthenware, so consider yourself sternly told off, Link. Those potters had feelings. And you haven't just smashed their fine china, you've broken their hearts too. Number 7. Martin Walker, Spec Ops: The Line. I hope you enjoyed all of the fun we had with the past few entries, because oh boy, there is no fun to be had in this one. Yes indeed, Spec Ops: The Line is a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Despite being presented as the hero throughout the game, Team America style, Martin Walker and his Delta Team cronies really were the villains all along. Being as the player is led to believe that his participation in the events we see is all ultimately for the greater good though. Shut it! we're including him here. The guy earns a spot on this list based on the white phosphorus incident alone. During the sequence, Walker authorizes the use of the chemical weapon on what he believes to be an enemy bunker, which is bad enough considering the shocking incendiary damage it does. Then, the bunker turns out to be full of civilians who were awaiting evacuation from the deadly sandstorm, with Walker's actions condemning them all to a horrifying death. Ultimately, there really are no heroes in Spec Ops: The Line. The 33rd have done an absolutely terrible job of keeping the situation in Dubai under control. The CIA are just there to eliminate the evidence of the whole affair, and Walker's Delta team comes stumbling in to make everything worse. And that includes my day. Just talking about all this is making me sad. Number 6. GALEN MAREK, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. As a more casual Star Wars viewer, I often find myself probably mispronouncing the name of this character, but also find myself wondering just what exactly is so bad about the Empire. Sure, they're a dictatorship that governs using fear, but aside from that, it's never really revealed what impact they have on everyday people, unless you read the comics. The same thought goes for Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, which, whilst being a solid entry into LucasArts' vast library of video games, doesn't really tell the player why one side is good and the other side is evil. They just sort of are. Throughout The Force Unleashed, we play as GALEN MAREK, who, after his father is tracked down and killed by the Empire, is trained by Darth Vader as his apprentice. Aside from the odd dead Jedi here and there and the enslavement of the Wookiees, which is admittedly not very cool, the Empire doesn't really cause all that much in the way of destruction throughout The Force Unleashed. Marek, on the other hand, ends up with a body count more elevated than Obi-Wan when he has the high ground. Good, wasn't it? Massively inflated by the Star Destroyer he force pulls out of the sky, presumably killing everyone aboard and in the surrounding area. Has anyone got a brush and dustpan? Someone's made a right mess. Number 5. Cuphead. Cuphead. Before you say anything, we wholly appreciate that the entire point of Cuphead is that the eponymous protagonist and his brother, Mugman, are out to cause more damage than they resolve in order to save their own arses. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to overlook this kind of behaviour. Following a successful few rounds of craps at the Devil's Casino, Cuphead and Mugman are made an offer they can't refuse. Roll the dice one more time and potentially win all the money in the building. Excellent. Naturally they lose, and that sadly means that their souls belong to the devil now, unless they can collect the soul contracts of Beelzebub's runaway debtors. Chaos ensues, and the craps-loving brothers plough through a smorgasbord of adversaries on their quest to save themselves, leaving a huge trail of destruction in their wake. Although we can surmise that the devil is up to no good elsewhere in the universe, he is literally Satan, we don't really see any of this throughout the game. Despite him technically being the bad guy, all of the terrible stuff that goes down is on our cup-headed friend and his inability to refuse a bet. Maybe you should check out Gamble Aware, my dude. Number 4. ARTYOM, Metro 2033. You know what? I've had it with video game protagonists making decisions that get scores of people killed without having the full picture. We've already given Martin Walker a dressing down for white phosphorusing all those civilians, and now we get yet another gun-toting dolt whose head-popping approach to diplomacy is wholly out of order. It's the year 2033, and the world has been ravaged by nuclear war, which isn't ideal, but hey, it's what we've got. One of the affected nations is Russia, with many survivors being forced underground, now living in a vast metro network. As if their troubles weren't bad enough, they're also under attack, or so they believe, by a group of mysterious creatures known as the Dark Ones. Luckily, our plucky young hero ARTYOM is on hand to save the day and nuke the living heck out of those thoroughly evil bastards. Except they're not evil bastards at all, and like a lot of people, they're just not very good at expressing their feelings. The entire time, the Dark Ones have been trying to make peaceful contact with humanity, doing so through telepathic hallucinations. It's too bad ARTYOM and pals interpret these as further acts of aggression, because by the time anyone realizes that the Dark Ones want to help, the nukes are already on their way. Perhaps next time you should just leave a note. Hey fellas? Number 3. Nathan Drake, Uncharted series. Despite the song and dance we made earlier about nice vases and how strongly we feel about not smashing them with swords, there is an even thicker line to be drawn if your pursuit of ancient MacGuffins and doodads results in the deaths of multiple human beings. Enter Nathan Drake, lovable rogue and treasure hunter who will seemingly stop at nothing to get his hands on whatever happens to be the historical artifact du jour. Despite being presented to the player as a bit of a cheeky, Indiana Jones-like protagonist, a quick look at all of the atrocities he's committed tells us he's actually more of a menace than the baddies he's trying to outsmart. As players, we're expected to treat Drake as the hero of the series, but it's certainly not for any virtuous traits he actually exhibits. Not only has Drake dispatched a frankly horrifying number of human victims who aren't always deserving of their fate, but he has racked up quite the trail of destruction, including planes, trains, automobiles, and even an entire ancient city as well. Sure hope that Fabergé egg was worth it, mate. Number 2. The Prince, Katamari Damacy. Here's a philosophical question for you. Which would you consider to be more destructive? Your drunken dad accidentally destroying all of the celestial bodies in the galaxy, or you trying to clean up his mess by rolling everything you come across into a giant ball? Whilst the king of all cosmos definitely wins the prize for fudging up the greatest number of things, the prince is definitely guilty of ruining the most important stuff, i.e. everything we hold dear here on Earth. The premise of Katamari Damacy is simple. Playing as the 5cm tall prince, you need to roll around a small magical ball that accumulates items and collect enough material to allow your pops to restore all of the stars he's accidentally demolished while on his bender. Although the destruction wrought by the Katamari starts out small, the bigger the ball gets, the bigger the stuff it picks up, and eventually you end up annihilating homes, skyscrapers, and even entire islands in your quest to restore the moon. We could probably attribute some sort of kill count to the prince as well, but honestly we'd struggle to count high enough. Number 1. Wanda, Shadow of the Colossus. We've all made mistakes in our lives. One time I took Tiny Peter to a shopping centre and lost him in Primark. Luckily he'd gone and found an adult and we were soon reunited, but it sure was scary and we've got a harness for him now so he can't wander off. Speaking of wonder, we have Shadow of the Colossus, a story about a young man who makes one heck of a mistake. Whilst trying to save his ladylove Mono, young Wanda is duped by an entity called Dormin into destroying 16 stone idols by finding and killing the colossi that they represent. The player is led to believe throughout the game that the colossi are the antagonists and slaying them is the right thing to do, but no! It turns out that Wanda has been tricked into massacring the beasts, which results in the evil Dormin's essence being restored, making the baddie whole again. This discovery is a real gut punch to both Wanda and the player, as the realization hits that you've murdered many innocent creatures and released an evil entity just so that you can spare your girlfriend from death. Was it all worth it? Probably not, and very much pulls from the Joel school of doing the right thing. The heart wants what it wants, I suppose.